Welcome to the Digital Dreaming Off the Ground podcast. It is a winter Sunday. Sorry, Sunday? Monday. Happy Halloween, everybody. It's your host Asif, and here just to recap, obviously Sunday's NFL action, starting off with CMC's monster game yesterday in the Niners rout of the Rams. Obviously he carried the ball for 27 times. He threw a touchdown, a 34-yard touchdown. He ran one in, and then he also had a receiving touchdown, which is basically Air Jordan, which justifies why he wears number 23, right? So, ultimately, I just thought it was such a great game. I was really happy with kind of how Kyle was able to make the adjustments at halftime. Same with D'Amico Ryans. They both called a masterful game, for those of you who saw me on Twitter. And ultimately, I'm looking forward to, seeing how the Niners, come back off the bye with all the healthy bodies coming back. But obviously the game itself was phenomenal. Obviously, Niners, basically claimed Levi South. You saw George Kittle on Twitter and on IG basically saying, leave fans were great at Levi South. I mean, it basically was a sea of red, in the stands. And it was just a phenomenal game for the Niners, to kind of, bounce back off that horrendous performance against KC. Ultimately, I think KC is one of those great teams in the NFL. Obviously them the Bills, but I think the Niners, could definitely make a run in the NFC. Um, but ultimately, yeah, I mean, I think Jimmy also played great. Jimmy had a great game. I mean, we gotta give Jimmy his credit too. I mean, the long pass to Ross Dwelly late in the fourth or the middle of the fourth, I forgot. And then obviously, the two touchdown passes, one to CMac, one to George Kittle in the fourth. He finished the day, I think, 228 passing yards and two touchdowns. So, obviously, like Randy Cross said on the show when he was here, last week or 2 weeks ago, Jimmy Garoppolo is a guy who can give you two touchdowns and 250 yards, right, on any given day. So it was great, obviously, to see the team kind of rally. It was great to see the defensive adjustments in the second half, and it was great to see them get after the quarterback on the defense side of the ball, Fred Warner and everything. I do think sorry, whoops. I do think one of the issues though is that we gotta definitely look out, for Jimmy's potential interceptions. He basically had almost two nearly picked off passes by Jalen Ramsey, who basically fortunately did not hold on to the ball on both situations or both instances. So, I think now Jimmy Garoppolo can definitely, hopefully he is who he is. It's not gonna get any better. I think it's gonna be, near almost interceptions. And we just gotta pray and hope that, defenses don't catch the ball and secondaries don't catch the ball. But yeah, offensively it was great game without Deebo Samuel. Obviously, Brandon Ayuk that touchdown. George Kittle finally got me some same fantasy points. Probably gonna take the L's of fantasy this week because I played Tony Pollard in two leagues. So 33.7 points in two leagues, and I played DeAndre Hopkins in one of the leagues. So, 266-point performers, you can't really do much about that. So, but I mean, I really think the Niners, they outgained, they outran, they outpassed the Rams, which I thought was huge, right? I mean, it's a testament to secondary. Obviously, the offensive line, the Rams do have their issues, but obviously, I think moving forward, I think the Niners definitely are in a situation now to where they can essentially control their own destiny. The second half of the season looks much more favorable. You got coming out the bye, you got the Chargers, and then I don't know the order, but I think the Cardinals, and then I believe I think the Raiders are in there. There's also the flailing Bucks. The tough games are actually the Bucks may be tough. The Miami Dolphins might be a tough game. Cardinals and obviously now the Seahawks are now 5-3, right? They're definitely, a team that we a force to be reckoned with the NFC West. So now I'm just gonna have to play mistake free from here on out. I think that, it'll definitely be, a duel, between the Seattle Seahawks and the Niners, to the end of the season. And I believe whoever doesn't win the division will definitely make the wild card. As it currently stands, I think Niners are the seventh seed, the wild card. So yeah, no, I think kudos to everyone around. And I'm looking forward. Now Boobie Dixon's gonna come on the show this Saturday. We're gonna have a pretty good talk about this and what he expects for the second half of the season. And I think now with the Niners, with looking ahead, I mean, hopefully with all the bodies coming back, we can probably see a better, considered effort offensively, defensively. It has the potential to be almost 2019-esque, in terms of kind of how complete the team can run, on both sides of the ball. Special teams as well. Obviously Robbie Gold looked phenomenal. I think Lenoir basically had that tackle where he tackled the Rams, the special returner, right in the fourth quarter, where he was tackling him, I think, on the 8 or the 9 yard line. So I mean, those are some key plays actually, if you think about it, because that control field position to prevent the Rams from mounting a comeback because they didn't have the field position advantage. So I think now, obviously, with the Rams, looking ahead, I mean, I don't think it's going to get any easier for them. I think they're going to struggle down the stretch, and I think they're going to probably not even make the playoffs, if even, if they somehow, can get things together. I mean, their offensive line issues are just horrendous. Niners offensive line did a great job yesterday on AD, on that pass rush. They were able to sack Jimmy, a few times, but I think, ultimately they played much better than they did last week against, the Kansas City, where Chris Jones, Frank Clark were just blowing by Williams and McGlinchey, and basically, winning their matchups on at will every down. So, kudos to the Niners, kudos to, everyone involved, the coaching staff. And, I think now looking ahead, hopefully now, we'll see this team kind of consistently win and not will lose every other week. You know, that's kind of been the story of the season, right? The frustrations are, we get a great win, then we lose the next week to a team we shouldn't have lost to, right? But, put things in perspective, two of the teams we lost to, such as the Atlanta Falcons, who we lost to, and as well as the Atlanta Falcons, yeah, and the Kansas City Chiefs. Atlanta Falcons are now number one in the AFC in the NFC South, and the Kansas City Chiefs, obviously, they're running their division, right? As expected. So, I'd argue since two of the losses are to playoff contending teams, outside the Denver Broncos and the Chicago Bears, I think, we should probably be 6-2 if we could have won those games, but it's not, maybe and ifs are not good enough in sports, right? So, I think that, it's something that, to consider that I think the Niners, definitely had a pretty tough schedule, all things considered. No one really counted the Falcons as being a playoff contending team this year, especially with the first year quarterback. So, kudos to them as well. I mean, the Marcus Mariota, Arthur Jones, I mean, they're doing great. I do think one thing I want to touch upon, obviously, with CMac getting those touches, and obviously the Niners are fielding offers for Jeff Wilson Jr. They have to rotate their backs. Grant Cohn made that point on his instant post game reaction yesterday. I agree with that, only for the reason that, obviously CMac, his injury history, and his the lack of availability because of the fact he's been overrun and overused. You could definitely have to kind of manage his minutes, manage his carries, manage the amount of touches he gets in a game. I'm not. That's not to say CMac can't be a workhorse. No, he definitely can be, right? But I think, you want to also kind of be cognizant, right? When you have a player that talented on your roster who's just a monster, can do everything, you really have to consider, kind of how to use them and how to basically mix it up, especially with the Niners who have such a loaded backfield. We can definitely, use guys like Mason and others, to kind of take the pressure off CMac. I think that's going to definitely be something I'm looking at, and I'm really interested to see how Kyle makes those adjustments moving down the second half of the season. So, ultimately, now we're 4-4, right? Not going to complain about, the record. I mean, we are what our record says we are. So ultimately, I think now the Niners now moving forward, they have to just continue, be consistent. We have to see them mount a series of wins. They had definitely have potential to get, some win streaks going, but looking at their schedule coming up, they can definitely be a playoff team. So, but that's ultimately up to them and how they want to control the future. Now, obviously, off the Niners, looking forward to, the Los Angeles Lakers, right? They finally got their first win yesterday. Obviously, Russell Westbrook now coming off the bench, 18 points, 8 rebounds, or 8 assists. I forgot the exact stat line. LeBron 26 and 8. AD also had 20 plus. And so I think the Lakers are best suited when Russ comes off the bench. Being a team like the Nuggets, who's a playoff team, a top team in the West with a two-time reigning MVP and Jokic, right? I mean that says a lot. So I mean that team beat the Warriors. The Warriors are kind of flailing right now, right? I haven't really talked about NBA that too much on the podcast, so. I'm pretty excited, to see if the Lakers can kind of get some momentum going. They do have some tough ones coming up, but hopefully, we can see them start getting some wins together. We just need to see them kind of string, be consistent. I think Niners and Lakers have the same problem, right? You start off slow, you dig yourself in a hole, right? It becomes difficult down the stretch when you have such loaded kind of conferences and divisions to compete against, right? So Phoenix Suns look like a team that's going to probably win the West this year, in all honesty, right? So maybe the Eagles going to win the NFC. I don't know. Everyone says the NFC is wide open. Maybe Niners can win the NFC. If they can, but they're going to have to get some wins together and beat out Seattle, who's also looking very good because of Geno Smith's resurgence, right? So mistake-free football. Just playing, to your competition, not playing down your competition, which has been the issue for both the Niners and the Lakers. I think that's going to be critical down the stretch. So. I think now, I'm looking forward to everything. Let's just see. Some more kind of week 7, week 8. Let me get some recap. Sorry, 1 second. Let's go. Let's get some pigskin pick 'em. All right. Let's see how I've done so far for the week. 72-47 overall. 45,000 ranking. Okay. Incorrectly picked the Jaguars of the Broncos. The Broncos won that game 3-5. I mean, whatever. I mean, the Broncos aren't impressing me at all. Correctly picked the Falcons of the Panthers. That was still a very good game. Walker at the end, almost had a shot, but the Falcons stopped him 37-34. Correctly picked the Cowboys of the Bears 49-29. If you guys remember, that was split on that last week. Incorrectly picked the Jets over the Patriots. I think they forced Zach Wilson to have three interceptions that game. So, credit to Bill Belichick and that defense. The Eagles of the Steelers, not much to be said. Obviously, Eagles roll to 7-0. It's 35-13 win over the Pittsburgh Steelers. So obviously I'm still picking I'm not necessarily picking the Eagles to win NFC, but they would still look like the best team in the NFC. A lot of people are saying they're not sold on them, but I have not seen any reason not to buy into Jalen Hurts and that offense, that defense. I correctly picked the Miami Dolphins over the Detroit Lions, 31-27. So not much needs to be said there. Mike McDaniel, great game. Detroit had an opportunity to win the game, but again, it comes down shoulda, woulda, coulda. Minnesota Vikings with the Cardinals. Obviously Minnesota 6-1. They won 5 straight. Kirk Cousins looks great. The Vikings look like a team to be reckoned with in the NFC. So we're gonna have to look out for them too. Incorrectly picked the Raiders over the Saints. 0-24. Yeah, the Raiders are just reeling. So not sure what to say there. We have to play the Saints. Now I just have to play the Saints, I think, down the stretch, next 5 games. So we're gonna have to be ready for that game. I think they're gonna come here though, so that might serve to our advantage. Um, Correctly picked the Titans over the Texans 17-10. Yeah, 5-2. Derrick Henry on my fantasy team. Not sure what else needs to be said there. They're definitely one of the top teams in the AFC. Correctly picked the Commanders over the Colts 17-16. It was a great game too. To Heineke, correctly picked the Niners over the Rams 31-14. That was a great game. Incorrectly picked the Giants over the Seahawks. Yeah, so the Seahawks are basically giving the Niners a run for their money. They were leading the NFC West right now, so the Niners are going to have to play mistake-free football. Correctly picked the Bills over the Packers 27-17. And tonight, obviously, the Bengals play the Browns. T. Higgins is on my fantasy team. The reason I'm picking the Bengals is just because of Joe Burrow and just his composure and who he is as a quarterback and how he's getting rolling at the right time of the year. He's not about how you start; it's about how you finish. Same thing can be said for the Niners, Jimmy G, and everyone. So Joe looks great. The Bengals look like a team to be reckoned with. You know, I mean, if they win today, they'll be forced to be reckoned with 5-3, right? So yeah, that's pretty much it. I think obviously the Ravens beat the Buccaneers 27-22. I didn't pick that game. But yeah, Lamar Jackson looked good. The Ravens are now 5-3. So yeah, there's gonna be the Ravens and the Bengals duking it out for the years to come, in my opinion. So yeah, I think ultimately on today, on this week, I'm actually pretty good. I was 9-4. And then yeah, let's see. Let's look forward to next week. It's kind of early, but this Niners aren't playing this week. I can just go ahead and just kind of look and see what games are coming up. All right, so okay, so Eagles, Texans. I'm picking the Eagles. 70% America, sorry, 98% America agrees. Chargers, Falcons, picking the Chargers. 82% of America agrees with the Chargers. Dolphins, Bears. 88% of America picks the Dolphins. Bengals, Panthers. 97% of America picks the Bengals. I'm agreeing with them on that. Packers, Lions. 80% of America picked the Packers. By the way, Packers looked pretty good last night against the Bills. All things considered, I thought Aaron Rodgers played pretty good, and the receivers played pretty well. The defense did what they could against Josh Allen. 27-17 was the final. Could have very well been 27-24. It could have very well went to overtime, but kudos to the Bills defense. And obviously the Packers receivers, the first year together, I think once they get going, then they'll definitely be in a better position next year. Um, Colts, Patriots, picking the Patriots. 82% of America agrees. Bills, Jets, picking the Bills. 96% of America agrees. Vikings, Commanders, picking the Vikings. 91% of America agrees. Raiders, Jaguars, picking the Jaguars. Only 38% of America agrees. So we'll see. Cardinals, Seahawks. I am picking the Well, I'm picking the Cardinals. 61% of America agrees. Just hope the Niners. I could very well be wrong. We'll see. Rams Bucks. Picking the Bucks or Rams. I'll pick the Rams. 46% of America agrees. So obviously that game's a little bit more split. So we'll see how that one turns out. Titans Chiefs. Picking the Chiefs. 95% of America agrees. Ravens Saints. I'm picking the Ravens. 89% of America agrees. All right, so made my picks. Okay, we're just good to go. So we'll see how this shapes out next week. Not gonna do a fantasy episode this week because I'm probably gonna lose unless T Higgins has a monster game today in both leagues. But even if I lose in both leagues, I'll probably be 5-3 and 4-4. So 4-4 like Niners in my standard league and 5-3 in my ESPN Plus league. It's better than being 0-7 because there's a guy in my league who is 0-7. Currently, I'm leading the division in the 4-4 league, and then being the ESPN Plus league, I'm second place. So, I mean, we'll see what happens. I mean, if I can make playoffs, that's good, but I'm just so hyped for the Niners. Maybe, obviously Howie Long said, on Fox NFL Sunday yesterday, post game, that he thinks Christian McCaffery is the missing piece of the 49ers. There's a lot of truth to that statement, because if you see how they were using him, it's almost similar to how Ricky Watters is being leveraged in 1994 when George Seifert would basically, Mike Shanahan would draw plays for him to leak out the backfield and kind of be a force from the play action game. So, I'm hoping the Niners can keep this momentum going. It's just about consistency because that's something the 94 team had, complete consistency and complete dominance on both ends, both sides of the ball, right? With Bryant Young, Steve Young, Merton Hanks, Deion Sanders, Eric Davis, right? Not saying that we have guys like that on that caliber, but we do have Nick Bosa, right? We do have Trent Williams. We do have, Christian McCaffrey. We do have Deebo Samuel. We do have George Kittle. We do have, Fred Warner. We do have other guys like Dre Greenlaw. Aziz was out, but he'll be back. Eric Armstead's coming back, right? Moody. So the secondary looks good. I guess not. I mean, not good against Kansas City. And also one thing, I don't know why the Niners can't stop the jet sweep. I mean, I would think the jet sweep would be something pretty easy to stop, but I mean, I've seen it out back-to-back weeks where Cooper Kupp scored a touchdown on the jet sweep, I think, and then well, not touchdown. He's got first down on the jet sweep, and then obviously last week McCall Hardman the jet sweep and got the touchdown. So I mean, it's difficult for the Niners to compete against teams with so much speed, especially on the edge. And but hopefully, I think if the Niners can, just if D'Amico Ryan keeps making adjustments, maybe he'll be able to devise some genius kind of scheme to, just defend against these top offenses in the NFL. Obviously Kansas City's the top offense. Well, Buffalo's the number one defense in the NFL. Obviously, Dallas, with their win yesterday, a lot of Cowboys fans are pretty confident. But I mean, 6-2, obviously, against the Bears. I mean, the Bears are obviously not that bad of a team, all things considered. But I think Dallas is for real. But I need to see them do more. I mean, they didn't do good against the Eagles. They need to do more against teams that are competing. Well, they did beat the Giants, though. And Giants are 6-2, right? So. I mean, they have beaten some good quality teams. So we'll see. The jury's out on the Cowboys. Jury's out on the Niners, honestly. So we'll see if the Niners can get some momentum going and close out the regular season with a playoff berth, either the division title or playoff berth. So that's pretty much kind of my thoughts on the Niners and obviously this last week NFL action. I think the power rankings will come out. You're going to see Buffalo still be on the top with even Philadelphia. So I mean, that's probably everyone's Super Bowl picks. I mean, Von Miller and obviously everyone on the Bills, definitely give you enough reason, as to why, people should be, high on the Bills, right? Because we've seen enough this year with them being 6-1. And, last night just further solidified, the argument. But yeah, I mean, I'm excited. I mean, for the Niners, I'm hoping that, we can make some deep runs and, this in the second half of the season and, kind of, make a huge playoff surge, to the and hopefully redeem ourselves for the last decade of Super Bowl losses. So yeah, once again, thank you guys for tuning in. My next guest on the show will be 2012 NFC champion and 2013 NFC championship game starter Anthony Booby Dixon. Played in Super Bowl 47 for the Niners. He was part of the 10th anniversary team that was honored last week. I may have another member of that team coming on in a few weeks. I will have that confirmed on social media, Twitter, LinkedIn, all the socials, hopefully by no later than Friday. So thank you everyone for tuning into this episode. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Please be sure to share, subscribe, and spread the word. And let's hope the Niners and the Lakers can keep stuff going. And obviously, if you're not a fan of either team, then hopefully you find our podcast to listen to. All right, everyone. FTTB, take care. Have a happy Halloween. Stay safe. I'll see you guys all next week. Actually, not next week, Saturday. I'll see you guys Saturday with Anthony Booby Dixon. Take care. Bye.